I'm Melissa Burkett from JBC Kenwood, and we're here at Studio One with Jeya. So thank you for joining us. Can you give us a little bit about your background and just kind of share with the group your industry experience?
Well, my name is Jeya and I'm a technology consultant. And before that, I used to work with the state of Louisiana, the Department of Public Safety, as a Director of Information Technology and Communications. I worked for state of Louisiana for 32 years.
Oh, wow.
And doing independent consulting for last 4 years. So communications is my field, actually my expertise. I actually was part of building 3 statewide communication systems. Initially SmartNet, then Smart Zone, then a P25 statewide system.
So you have quite a long history of experience in the LMR industry and the communication sector.
Yes, that's where I started my initial thing in two-way communications, and over a period of time, I moved through the ranks and came to information technology and was the director for public safety in state of Louisiana.
Well, that's excellent. Well, we're certainly really, excited to have you here to join us in the studio while
Glad
we're
to be here.
Yes, this week. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Would you mind giving us a brief overview of P25 standard and how it came to be?
P25 standard was part of evolution coming from APCO 16. A lot of people heard about APCO 16, and that was there for a long time. Communications were controlled by manufacturers for different agencies, and there were not real interoperability existed before. So when the interoperability come as a norm, and when we find out since 9/11 there is a real need for actual interoperability, P25 standard, which was already on the books, they are working on it, was developed. And initial P25 statewide system, I believe state of Louisiana is one of the first state to implement a statewide P25 system. So P25 standards came because of necessity of actual intercommunication needs between police department, fire departments, and EMS. So it's an evolution from APCO 16, and P25 standard was established.
So since that P25 standard has been established, what has that done for first responders and radio manufacturers and the industry as a whole? What does that standard really help accomplish?
Oh, P25 standard actually changed the field in real two-way communications. First of all, the radio manufacturers were able to sell radios even with different systems. But as a user, when I was with state of Louisiana, we were able to buy one brand of radio before the P25 standards. Since the P25 standards came in, we were able to buy radios from different manufacturers. Because of that, the prices went down, and actually the quality went up because actual competition was opened up because of P25 standards.
And how has that helped first responders just doing their jobs and being able to have that critical communication, public safety grade communication with the interoperability when they need it?
First of all, not only they can cross inter-counties, now they can go to different states and use their own radio regardless who the manufacturer is, and be able to communicate with the local agencies. So that's a huge, because before a city police cannot talk to the state police or cannot talk to the sheriff's office because of different standard, different manufacturers. Since P25, if you have a P25 radio, you'll be able to talk to any user regardless of whose system they are using. So that was huge for the users.
Sure. And so why is that interoperability really just vital for first responders, particularly in those mutual aid situations and during disaster communications?
You can refer back to 9/11, and that was a good example why interoperability is such an important event. And being part of state of Louisiana, I participated in multiple hurricane aftermaths, and the assistance we provide or we receive from other states and other agencies is vital for recovery. And because of P25 standard, different states were able to come with their own radios and were able to go into the field and talk to individual agencies very easily. So that P25 standard brought a different dimension in communication by providing actual interoperability with multiple agencies.
Sure. So what does that process look like to get that public safety grade radio equipment certified, that it's certified with the P25 standard? What is that process?
An agency has to go through, and manufacturer has to go through standards and FCC certifications and actually test their radios with different manufacturer systems. But for us as a users or the agencies such as counties and cities and states, they will go through a process of actually manufacturers providing them radios. They will program it, they will use it on their system, and actually they will cross over to adjacent system and they will program it and use it. And actually they go through a process before they actually purchase the radios of evaluation and acceptance, basically.
And so what do those public safety agencies have to gain by purchasing that P25, the CAP certified equipment?
Oh, first of all is pricing. I remember I used to pay a certain price for one manufacturer's radios. And once a P25 standard come and we tested it and we accepted another manufacturer, the price went almost half.
Wow.
So the purchasing power of users have increased tremendously. And also the testing of these radios by the users give confidence to the users. So there is a process they had to go through, and of course they had to go to their purchasing department and show why they want to buy these radios and different manufacturers' radios, if that I answer your question.
Yeah.
So it is a process they have to go through, but it saves money and it open up competition, and the users actually were able to go anywhere pretty much, whoever have a P25 system, and we be able to just program the radios and be in the field using the radio without spending millions of dollars trying to borrow and buy to talk to adjacent counties.
You'd be able to communicate on those other agencies.
And another thing is, if you remember, people used to have, or officers used to have, 3 radios, 4 radios in their cars. Now one radio, they will switch between different systems and be able to use it.
And still be able to communicate.
That's a big one.
It's very significant. So it's not even just the interoperability, the standard of interoperability that P25 brought. It's also the benefit that it has to the user with the price and that extended value and that purchasing power due to the increased competition.
Because the APCO certified these P25 standards, the prices went down. Actually, competition opened up, but the users don't have to carry 3 and 4 and 5 radios in one vehicle. And as well as you will be able to cross over your boundary to another county or another state and be able to use the same radio, your own radio, without waiting to borrow another radio and all those things. So it really, P25 standard opened up a different dimension in communications for public safety.
So, even with those strides made by Project 25, what are some of the challenges that with interoperability that still continue today?
If I can say, the CSSI, ISSI standards, they are not very well established and provide a guidance for the users. So that is still a challenge for actual infrastructure side, not for the user equipment. On the infrastructure side, people tend to stay with the same vendor who provided the infrastructure system for their consoles, and if they want to buy additional tower sites, they are not free to move across with this proper operation, if I can put it. So those standards has to be established, and there's a lot of testing goes on, but they has to be really opened up and challenged.
Okay.
So I would encourage the manufacturers, and I will encourage the users to demand from the manufacturers this gateways and like console interfaces and different tower side interfaces be tested properly and opened up as a definite standard, like the P25 subscriber standards.
So you would just like to see more of an advanced form of the P25
Yes,
standard and
right
some
now,
development of that.
99% of the system users use the same brand console from the manufacturers.
Sure.
So there's not a real competition when it comes to dispatch locations. So that will provide users a tremendous advantage if the standard is established and followed.
Okay, and then kind of right now with the current standard and the current situation, what is there any advice you have to first responders or public safety agencies, or from the user's perspective, anything that they can do currently to kind of help achieve some of those challenges?
I will encourage them to reach out to different manufacturers' radios to test that, because I was reluctant initially as a user to go to a different manufacturer.
Sure.
Because I was sold by one company and I wanted to stick to that because I know this in a product. But since I opened up a mind and went to different manufacturers, tested their different radios, it opened up altogether different worlds. So I encourage the users to actually put their hand on different manufacturers' radios, actually use them and get a feel for it instead of sticking to one brand.
That's a really great point, because without doing that, you really don't have a good perspective of what else is out there.
Don't just stay in the comfort zone, because there's another world out there.
Sure.
And if you have an open mind, you will save a lot of money for your agency by testing different manufacturers' radios.
Okay. And then, do you have any advice for agencies currently with the current landscape looking to upgrade their communication equipment, or, just testing the waters, like you say, just looking out for other vendors and not just kind of sticking with what they know? Do you have any advice for someone? What things should they be looking for? What kind of technology should they be demanding from their radio manufacturers?
I mean, I bought a manufacturer statewide system multiple times. I attended a meeting one day from another radio manufacturer, actually at the time E.F. Johnson. I think now is JVC Kenwood. I attended a technology meeting with E.F. Johnson, and I was shocked that how much I was missing out, because I did not know, I did not spend enough time, and I did not do any research. But when I just happened for that 1 hour presentation, my prospect and scope and outlook changed drastically because of the distributed architecture and technology, as well as pricing, if you compared it. And in these days, they are all electronics and they works well. So I encourage the users to have an open mind and spend some time looking at different products. And because they are now standard, you at least initially start mixing some of them and go forward with that.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you, Jeya, so much. We really appreciate you joining us for Studio One interview session, and we hope to see you back in the near future. But we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today on the P25 standard and just really giving that different perspective. So
thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
No problem. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for Studio One, and we hope to see you again.